French President Emmanuel Macron lit diplomatic fires on three fronts during a blistering address at the IISS Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, accusing China of enabling North Korea's unchecked nuclear ambitions and warning that NATO could no longer remain passive in Asia. He tied Beijing's silence to North Korea's military involvement in Europe, suggesting that if China expects NATO to stay out of Asia, it must first prevent Pyongyang from operating alongside Russian forces in European theaters. Macron's remarks marked a sharp pivot from his earlier skepticism about NATO's role in Asia, signaling a potential shift in Europe's security posture amid mounting ties between Moscow and Pyongyang. Citing Russia's repeated invasions of Ukraine, a country that gave up its nuclear arsenal in 1991, Macron underscored the dilemma mid-sized nations face when confronting nuclear-armed aggressors.
Let's be clear. The situation is very challenging as well in Europe. When Ukraine, the country that renounced nuclear weapons in 1991, is the one that Russia is repeatedly invading, how could there not be a second thought? When the DPRK is developing a massive nuclear arsenal unconstrained by China and is now entering an alliance with Russia, a nuclear weapon state, permanent member of the UN Security Council, supposed to act responsibly, how are regional countries threatened by the DPRK supposed to act? What can reasonably be on their mind when they owe their people, before anything else, their security? In Europe and in Asia?
The French leader's comments followed Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu's public expression of gratitude to North Korean troops for their reported participation in military operations in Russia's Kursk region, an unprecedented acknowledgement of DPRK boots on the ground in the Ukraine conflict.
Once again, I would like to thank our colleagues from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea for their participation in the liberation of the Kursk region. They fought shoulder to shoulder with our servicemen in the same trench to liberate the region. As our president has said many times, they demonstrated great courage and heroism, fighting for the liberation of our land as if it were their own.
Macron seized on that admission to turn the spotlight on Beijing, insisting that China cannot expect NATO to remain distant from Asia while North Korean forces fight under Moscow's command in Europe.
But sure enough, our challenges are not only similar, they are getting increasingly intertwined. They are intertwined because when you look at the situation, during the past few years, I had objected to NATO having any role in Asia, because for me, N is for North Atlantic. And because I don't believe in being enrolled in someone else's strategic rivalry. But what's happening with North Korea being present alongside with Russia on the European soil is a big question for all of us. And this is why, if China doesn't want NATO being involved in Southeast Asia or in Asia, they should prevent clearly DPRK to be engaged on the European soil.
The message landed with unmistakable clarity. Europe is recalibrating, NATO is evolving, and if China continues to shield Pyongyang, it may soon find the Atlantic Alliance knocking at Asia's door.